What I'm going to walk you through in this video is a demo of how you can protect Docker and ensure that a container cannot escape and gain access to the host. So what we hear from our customers is when they think about Docker, one of the things that's there is it's contained, and what happens within the container stays within the container. But like with everything, there's often cases, and very common cases, where a container needs to have additional privileges. And this is a global setting on whether or not you allow container to have these additional privileges. And common containers like Nginx, there are certain features of a number of other containers, require you to leave a capability that allows the container to have global privileges available. Because of this, it means any container running on that host is able to escape. So what I'm going to walk you through in this video is using Data Center Security Advanced, which we've noted in the other videos is a new product focused on meeting Docker monitoring and prevention use cases, and walk you through a scenario of how a container can escape and how we stop it. So this is one a customer brought to us, and they said, can you show us how we would stop this? We're ensuring that DevOps, they have a Docker privileges and they can do Docker, but they can't do anything to the host. How do I make sure that they don't have this ability? And this was just an example scenario they threw at us, right? Of DevOps, they've got a new admin, they want to go in and muck with the password file, create users, modify users, and there's a way to do this. So can you show us how to stop it? So what I'm going to do is run you through this scenario. And the way the scenario works is you can set up I'm going to have a Debian container, which has additional privileges, basically using the privileges that Nginx requires in order to function and manage the traffic. And it's going to fire up within Debian a version of Docker, so another Docker on top of Docker. Within a Debian, and there's then a way I can have Debian escape and have root on the host. So the first thing I'm going to walk you through is doing that without protection, just monitoring. And then I'm going to walk you through it and show you how we have the capabilities to prevent this from happening and keep the container contained, such that Debian can run, Docker can run, I can read Docker within Docker, but it cannot escape. So what you're looking at here is behind the scenes, I've got a policy setup monitoring my Ubuntu 01 server. It is running a null policy at the moment. And on the actual box itself, I'm logged in as administrator here. I've got a few just test accounts. And the account I'm going to be using for this demo is I've got Docker demo. The group Docker is 126. So Docker demo account is within that Docker group. So I have full rights to take and manage things with Docker, but I do not have rights to go change password file, add users, etc. So what I'm going to walk you through is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and fire up that Debian as I showed in the graphic. So now I've got a Debian, and this command right here is the special flag that is used to give this particular container a global access so it can access other containers, etc. Now what I'm going to do is run a command so that within this Debian container, I'm now going to, just like I'm on a standard OS, like I'm doing, I'm going to install and configure the latest version of Docker. So what this is running through, it's going out and pulling down Docker, installing Docker, and making sure it's updated to the latest version. And so while we're doing this whole thing, right, I can tell you a little bit more about what we're doing here at Symantec. So as I run through this demo, what's going on behind the scenes is there is a agent on this host, Ubuntu on 01, and any containers I start up will be monitored. And we've got another video that we posted talking about just monitoring and compliance and showing what are all the containers, real-time file integrity monitoring of what they're doing, as well as changing accounts, logging accounts, everything you would expect from a security monitoring tool that's focused on providing not only the security monitoring your CISO needs, but also ensuring that when the PCI auditor or other regulatory auditor walks in the door, you have the ability to show them I know what software was running in my environment. Here are the containers and containers I use, and can give even a live feed of what containers you have running in the environment. Here is the real-time file integrity happening on the ones that are in scope for PCI, where I have PII, show all of the changes, what are the users doing, etc. And then finally, the use case I'm demoing here. So we've had several use cases around this, and I wanted to demo a use case on hardening and prevention that's not, hey, look, here's this flaw in the OS or flaw in this kernel that you could exploit to escape a container, but one that is just a design issue where containers have to have elevated privileges sometimes. Right, and the way this is set up, it goes to all containers, and so it then creates a risk of the one I'm doing here, where DevOps could do things where they're not supposed to. And secondarily, it can then, if any of these um, containers on the host have a vulnerability, if that vulnerability were exploited, the commands I'm running could be exploited, right? So they could set up a Docker, set it up a new container within that gives them privileges. So now I've got Docker within Debian that's on top of Docker. And here I'm now going to run another command that gives me a Debian container within that second Docker. And at this point, I have the ability to make myself root. Now what you're going to see is I can go into Ubuntu 01 over here, and now I have the ability, I'm going to just do some fun and go into etc password. And let's go ahead, and I don't like Larry much, so he's no longer got an account. And I've decided that Bob here, he's my buddy. And I need root access, but I don't want him to know I have root access. So this innocuous user called Bob is now going to be my new backdoor root. And as you can see, right, I was within a container, I was within Debian, I was only a Docker admin, and at this point, using privileges that are available to allow containers to do valid things, I was able to do something I shouldn't be able to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into DCS and apply our standard policy. So I'm just going to grab our standard Unix policy, and what this is doing is it's basically taking and wrapping the OS and protecting it, as well as placing containers into their own sandbox and ensure they can't get in, modify the OS, modify Docker. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and update this. And have this roll out to my agent. And as you're going to see, what we're now going to be able to do, instead of just seeing all the activity that is happening on the Ubuntu box and all the various files that are being changed, users created, etc., I am now going to be able to stop it. So what I'm going to do now is come back out here, and I'm going to go ahead and exit back out of my root. So now I'm on the box and I'm in my Docker, and instead of running through this whole thing again, I'm just going to go ahead and from here, and you'll see that I am not able to use chroot. And basically what we're doing behind the scenes is when this container, where we're down at the kernel level, when we see it try to exit its space and get to the host, is where it is getting stopped. So thanks a lot for watching this, and stay tuned. We will continue to post new videos and blogs about what we're doing, and we highly encourage you to submit topics and things you would like us to focus on. And if you have any questions for us on the technology of what we're doing, we're really excited about containers and what they bring to the data center and the new dynamic agile world they provide. And we're very focused on ensuring you can run them in a secure fashion.